Okay, boys and girls, welcome to the second video where we're going to be looking at the A-list and FFLAVA of a character. So again, if we go to checkpoint 1 in the Outsiders on Trial project, you go down to the development notes, and you click on that. In here, I'm going to be this is something that you could have been doing while I was doing the PowerPoint presentation. It's something you can do if you need a little extra help. Kind of going through the presentation and answering the questions as they go through. But this is not something that's not an assignment, okay? The main reason we're doing this is so you can see how this A-list and FFLAVA is how it can be used on a character. Okay, so I'm going to choose a character, and the character I chose is Harry Potter. Okay, so if we look through the character development, and if you look on the left-hand side over here, this side over here where I highlighted, if you look at those purple boxes, we see that there's actions, looks, impressions, speech, and thoughts. That's A-list. Okay, and then here it's telling us what the words mean. So for actions, what is actions is what the character does, the actions they take. Okay, so, and for Harry, some examples in the story are he buys a snack for himself and Ron when he finds out that Ron doesn't have enough money. He tries to go to the adults to tell them about what Snape is trying to do. And when they don't help, he tries to do the right thing himself. So those are things he does that tell us a little bit about him. Okay, we know that he's kind of nice. He's kind of loyal to friends because he buys stuff for his friend when he knows his friend doesn't have enough money. Or, he's very brave and he has a lot of integrity because he's trying to do the right thing. Okay, in these next two. Looks. These are a character's appearance, what the character looks like. So in the book, Harry is described as having a thin face, knobbly knees, black hair, and bright green eyes. Okay, so you notice how I did quotation marks here because that's actually from the book. Okay, and we are going to be taking parts of the book and putting them into our project. Okay, so just because we're in a different project doesn't mean that stops. No, this continues on. But luckily for you, the book is online, so you can copy and paste a lot of this stuff. Okay, and we've done the looks. Some of the questions in chapter 1 have already dealt with the looks, so we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next video. But so we see here, this is how he's described. So we know what he looks like. Okay, his thin face, knobbly knees, bright green eyes. Okay. Impressions. What is impressions? It's other characters. So how other people in the story see the character, what other people say about the character. And the Sorting Hat, which is a character in the Harry Potter books, says that Harry has plenty of courage and he doesn't have a bad mind either. There's talent. Oh my goodness, yes. And a nice thirst to prove yourself. Okay, and it's good we see that, okay, the Sorting Hat says that he has courage, he doesn't have a bad mind. That means that he's smart. There's talent and a nice thirst to prove himself. And that's probably because of the way he was brought up with his cousin getting all the attention, that now that he's in a magic school, he wants to prove himself. Okay, and we get to see how smart he is and how much courage he has later on in this book and in the other books as well. The next word is speech. So this is what the character says and the dialogue of the character. Remember, the dialogue is when characters talk in a book. That's what dialogue is. So Harry himself, when he finds out, or when Hagrid tells him that he's a wizard, his first thing to say is, "I can't be a wizard. I'm just Harry." Okay, and what does this tell us about Harry? This tells us that he's humble, that he doesn't really believe in himself sometimes because of the way that his aunt and uncle brought him up. But this is a good thing. This is a big part of his character because he's like, I don't see myself as any different, or I'm not a special person. I can't be a wizard. I'm just Harry. Okay, and this goes again to how humble he is, how loyal he is, like the kind of character he is, and his thoughts. So this is what the character thinks. The internal monologue, that means the voice in their head of the character. But we have to remember, not all narrators reveal the character thoughts. We're very lucky that in The Outsiders and in Harry Potter, the author does tell us what Ponyboy is thinking in particular. So we can see if what the character's thinking, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. Sometimes you will just uh, read and not know what the character's thinking, and it'll be a surprise when they do something. But the thoughts of Harry is he's always trying to figure out what's going on. This shows how like smart he is and how he's trying to work things out. And I know at one point in the book he's looking forward to flying, uh, and he was very excited to try to fly. And this might be because again he was brought up with his aunt and uncle not living under a cupboard in a cupboard under the stairs. So he wants to find any reason, to get away from the world or whatever, and flying is a good way to do that. All right. So next we have the flava down here. Okay, so we have the fears, flaws, longings, attitudes, values, and aspirations. All right. Okay, and again, thinking of Harry, what are his fears? So something the character is deeply afraid of. Okay, he's afraid of evil. He's afraid of people doing bad things. What are the flaws? The flaws are an imperfection of the character, an area of improvement for the character. So this is something that they could work on. This is something that they need to change, that they're trying to change. Okay, and for Harry, it's stubbornness and impatience. Especially at the end of the book, he finds out what Snape has done, and he wants to just go ahead and stop him. He doesn't want to wait. He feels like he can't wait for the headmaster Dumbledore to come and try to stop things. No, he wants to go do it himself. So that's where the stubborn and impatience comes in. And Dumbledore was already on his way, so if he would have waited a little longer, he probably wouldn't have had to face Voldemort himself. But he is Harry's who he is, and he's gonna always do what he wants. Longings. So this is something the character emotionally longs for and deeply wants. So it's something the character wants more than anything in the world. Okay? And for Harry, it's a family and happiness. And of course, it makes sense for a family because his mother and father died when he was only 1 year old. So he never really got to know them. So it makes sense that he would want to have a family more than anything in the world. And that's probably why he's so loyal to his friends like Ron and Hermione, because they're like his family. Next, we have the attitudes, the way the character presents themselves or acts around others, the personality traits of the character. So for Harry, these are brave, loyal, selfless. Selfless means that he doesn't think about himself. He thinks about everyone else. How can he make things better for everyone else before he thinks of himself? Okay, and we see his bravery when he goes and tries to fight Voldemort himself, and we see his loyalty when he sticks up for Ron and sticks up for Hermione every chance he gets. Next, we have values, the elements of life that the character cares about most, the things that the character has prioritized. So these are the things that are the most important to the character. Okay, these are the things that are most important to the character. And for Harry, the most important things are friendship, family, and righteousness. And righteousness is when things need to be right. He especially in the first book, he sees things as either right or wrong, and he wants to be right. He wants things to be right all the time. Okay? And finally we have aspirations. The goals of the character, especially in their professional life, something the character dreams of becoming in the future, okay? And for Harry, and especially in The Outsiders, they're not thinking about their professional lives, but it's something the character definitely wants. Or dreams of becoming. Not wants, but dreams of becoming. So what is their goals, when they get older? And for Harry, in the first book, he wants to be loved, and he wants to rid the world of evil. That means he wants evil to be gone from the world. Okay? So you guys have this document. So in case you guys do get lost or something, you can always go back and read it and be like, okay, what is Mr. Gonzalez looking for this, or what, you know, that kind of stuff. You can always look back, and I believe it should be this should already be like with the Harry Potter uh, example. It should be in there already. Okay, and that is that. Okay, so again, I will see you in the third video, and then that'll be the last video for this week.